Wind the clock back 116 years. It's 1894 and the Urbana Courier is writing about a young Champaign County town called Longview, and the paper calls the town a shiny municipal mark in the southernmost tier of the county. Located 8 miles south of Sidney, Longview had a bright future and was labeled a get-there town. However, the future of Longview today isn't as bright, and Main Street isn't as crowded. Doris Sapp has lived in Longview for 70 years. She's seen her town bustle with activity and over time fade away. She recalls the thriving businesses that once prospered there.
We had a grocery store, a hardware store, a tavern, the bank, a barber shop, the post office, a restaurant.
At one time, there were also 3 churches and a school in Longview, but none remain today. For Sapp, along with the businesses leaving, the small town feeling seems to have left as well.
Everybody knew everybody, and you could go visit. And now most of the people here in town we don't know, and most of them we don't want to know, and that's a terrible feeling.
While Sapp is sad to see the businesses and friendly feelings go, she also says the stigma that comes with living in the town is hard to ignore.
Oh, I almost hate to go anywhere. We go to Broadlands to the senior citizens dinner the first Wednesday of every month, and invariably somebody will bring up what they see when they drive through this town.
Drive along the county highway that runs through Longview and you will see dilapidated houses with insulation exposed, broken down cars and trucks, and makeshift junkyards, all visible signs of a town in trouble. And in downtown Longview, the only business that remains is a tavern. But the aesthetics aren't the only problem in Longview. The disappearance of business is coupled with a high poverty rate. In 1990, Longview's poverty rate was at 8.5%. By the time of the 2000 census, the poverty rate had grown to just over 15%, making Longview's poverty rate one of the highest in Champaign County. Of the 165 people living in Longview 10 years ago, 25 were at or below the poverty level. Statistics from the 2010 census won't be available for months, but Sapp says the evidence of poverty in the town has only increased. She's not sure the high rates will go away anytime soon.
I know that one of the families moved here to town. They lived in Douglas County, and they moved from Douglas County to Longview because they got more money on their food stamps than they did in Douglas County.
Other town residents noticed the poverty as well. Martha McCoskey moved to Longview from Mansfield with her family 20 years ago and believes that part of the high poverty problem is complacency.
You see it, but then I think some of it is intentional. Because I know for a fact there are a couple of families in town that they look for any way they can to get the handouts, any way to get the freebies. And I thought, if you only knew what we had to do to climb out of it, hey, you can do it too. And that's the way I look at it. You can do it too.
Along with the poverty, McCoskey also noticed a different feeling in Longview than in Mansfield. She describes what she was told by neighbors when her family moved to Longview.
When the sun went down, they went inside because they were scared to be out, because of there were just enough wildness, I guess I would put it, in the town that you never knew what the kids were going to do.
While she may feel more a part of the town after living here for 2 decades, she says at first it was hard to meet and get to know the people living in the town.
You were strangers, and they're very leery of anybody. They didn't, and I think that's because it seems to me like a lot of the people that live in that town were born and raised in that town, and they don't know anything different, so they're going to be, I don't want to say cliquey, but not as outgoing as what we had been used to.
Stephen Barkley is the mayor of Longview, and he doesn't see big changes or a lower poverty rate for Longview anytime soon, if at all.
I would say Longview probably will not grow. I will, because right now I would consider us a village maintaining to get by with what we already have.
Longview's isolated locale and low housing costs are attractions, but Barkley doesn't see any other reasons why people might move to the town.
I'd say right now there's not really, I'm not going to say there's a whole lot to really entice them. If you don't mind driving for a little bit, I mean, it's cheap living.
There also isn't much to attract businesses. Longview State Bank has branches in several central Illinois communities, but there is no longer a branch in the town that gave the bank its name. Bank owner John Albin said that the town was a great place for the bank to be at one time, but when talk of moving the bank came about in the 1990s, he says the decision to move was obvious.
Longview was a town of 200 people. The businesses had all left town. There were no other activity. There was a restaurant that was open sometimes. We were ready to build a new building for Longview State Bank, and we didn't want to spend that much money in Longview, Illinois, when there were no other businesses there.
The old bank building now houses the Longview Tavern, the town's sole remaining business. Just west of Longview is the unincorporated town of Fairland. The structure of the town is still there, but there are no businesses, and now it looks like houses grouped together in a pattern that resembles the town that used to be. It's a fate that some say Longview may face. Perry Petticourt works at the tavern. He's more optimistic about Longview's future.
The only reason why Fairland didn't make it is because nobody was interested in keeping the town going. But this place here, you know, we're planning on having this town going.
Doris Sapp also has high hopes for the town she's lived in most of her life.
Well, just a nice, clean little town's what I'd like to see again, because it always was that way. That's the way it was when we first moved here. Nobody had any unmowed yards or anything of that nature, you know. Everything was picked up and cleaned up, and it always looked nice.
The 2010 census will show if Longview's poverty rate has continued to grow, while its population has continued to shrink. Whatever the numbers reveal, Petticourt is certain of one thing.
It's not going to go away, no matter what. I mean, some people do and some people don't, but it's not going to go away.